Hi, welcome back. We're the Book Mavens. I'm Rachel. This is Amanda, and we are coming back after a little bit of a break, a couple of weeks. And this episode, we want to share with you what we were able to accomplish regarding our TBR, what we were able to read over the break, and also some book gifts that we got as well. And so I think Amanda's going to start the conversation with the books that she was able to finish.
Yeah, you can't see it,
break.
but my list is remarkably tiny compared. Rachel had a glorious reading break. Okay.
The in-laws were back. Let me just say, that's when Rachel gets to do massive reading.
Gosh, we love her
exploration. Right.
Okay, so I had talked about my priority was to finish the Throne of Glass series, and I almost made it. I read Queen of Shadows, and then Empire of Storms, which I don't have a physical copy of. And then I finished Tower of Dawn, and I am most of the way, I think. I'm digital right now. I just got this.
Are you? Are you more than halfway?
I think I'm pretty far into, let me say that. I'm pretty far into Kingdom of Ash, which is the last one. So I'll finish this up very shortly. So to confess, I started these two at the same time.
I had told her that when she read, was it Air of Fire? Air of Fire, that the way that it ends
Oh no, Empire of Storms.
Is it Empire of Storms?
Yeah.
Sorry. Empire of Storms.
Yeah, Empire of Storms.
All right. I forget them all. It's been a while. That it ends on this huge cliffhanger and that she'll want to skip Tower of Dawn, which is a different perspective story, and jump right into Kingdom of Ash to figure out what happened. And
which technically I didn't do since I started them both at the same time. And I was reading them both simultaneously together until I found the resolution to said cliffhanger. And then I paused Kingdom of Ash. That's how I know, like, I'm not exactly sure where I am in this book. And then I went back and finished Tower of Dawn, which actually might be
people have a lot of
my
different
favorite
theories
so far. I really liked Tower of Dawn.
Well, you're going to talk about reading order. People have very specific opinions about reading order and how people do it. Some people read like the last two like simultaneously, or no, is it Queen of Shadows and Tower of Dawn simultaneously? Something about that. Two people recommend going back and forth. I didn't do that. I read them as they released.
I'll have to think on that. I like where, because I know the Assassin's Blade prequels had been written like well after her series was finished, and it was recommended to me by the person who recommended the series originally.
Oh, it wasn't. It came out.
Did it? I don't know when it came out.
It came out while she was in the midst of writing all the other ones.
Well, whenever it came out, it was recommended to me that not to read it as a prequel, but to read it after Air of Fire, which is book 4. And I think, you know, looking back on it, that was a really great place to do it. If I'd done it in the beginning, I don't think I would have enjoyed the big opening book as much. I would have known too much about her. And so then this like discovery of herself, I don't think I'd have enjoyed it as much. But a lot of the characters that you meet in those Assassin Blade short stories are important in like starting after Air of Fire. So I think like it was fresh enough that I picked up on those threads a lot easier. So I thought that was a good place to put it. I'll have to think about the other part, but let me tell you, this is a great series. I've been recommending it to everyone. I think I've told at least 4 to 5 people in the last 48 hours they need to like read it immediately. Came through for me. I did kind of have to hop around. Scribd kind of did me dirty. Let me tell you what Scribd did to me, because normally I'm like, yay, Scribd, pro Scribd. Scribd had the digital books except for Kingdom of Ash, the last one.
Of course.
And I was like,
of course.
But I will say I reactivated my Audible subscription because Audible is the only one you can get the audio books for these on. I think
How is the quality for the Audible?
They're really great. The lady they have narrating them, so good. She's phenomenal. I will say that considering you have to get them on Audible, which means you either have to have a subscription or pay a higher price. They're like about $30 each if you buy them, even with like your Audible discount. I treated myself to the last 3 audiobooks so that I could, But anyway, they're very well produced. They're very well done. I really enjoyed them. So I didn't finish, but I got real close. And I will be finished here shortly. And so let me tell you, this one is so good. I didn't touch Evelyn Hardcastle, but that's okay because we're going to do something with that later. Mm-hmm. And I got about a quarter of the way. I don't know if you can see my bookmark. I got about a quarter of the way into my Japanese history book. And this one is actually, it's quite good, but with a lot of nonfiction, particularly this nonfiction where a lot of the, like I don't actually speak Japanese. So it takes I have to go a little bit slower because my brain needs to process like names and places. And yeah, so nonfiction, I tend to read slower anyway, just because I'm trying to absorb and not just finish. And that's it. I read some like toss away cozies, but none of my like regular series. I'm still saving my last 3 Vampire Knitter Club. I don't know what I'm saving them for.
I think it's just when you're really emotionally devastated and then you can
I think that's true. So the next time my heart's broken about something, I'll probably read the last 3. Don't say that, Rachel. I don't.
You will. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't cried. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I haven't cried recently. That is 100% a lie. Rachel and I watched the 20th anniversary Harry Potter special. And when he started saying, oh, listen, you need to watch it. But there's a great quote where he's talking about how I won't be here in 50 years, but Hagrid still will be. And I just like ugly sobbed into the cheese, Rachel. I'm just like over there with like cheese and crackers and one of her dogs, and I'm just like, anyway, if you haven't watched that special, you need to. It is really beautiful. Good. It's beautiful. I loved it. It was great. Okay, so that was what I read over the break. Now, why don't you tell us what you read, and then we can talk about the books we were given.
All right. So I finished, I don't remember if I had started it or not, but the 10,000 Doors of January, I did want to try and read through all of Alex Harrow because we read A Spindle Splintered, which was French. Mm-hmm. And this is really good. I would recommend this one. Very imaginative, great story, great romance in there. This is not what I would consider, I mean, when I say romance, this is not like a spicy book. I don't mean it that way. It's just, it's very well written. I have a lot of high hopes for her. Now, one of my TBRs was to read The Once and Future Witches, which is her other one. I did not get to that one because I got massively distracted over the break and chose to read a bunch of other books instead. And it isn't that I'm not excited to read The Once and Future Witches. I ended up going book shopping with a former student, and depending on, like, I end up kind of being kind of like a mood shopper, and my former student likes the spicier books, and I did a deep dive into YA, not going to lie, over the break. So it's cool. Now, I read some other ones, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'll bring those up in a minute. But 10,000 Doors of January, Alex Harrow, fabulous book. It's a quick read. You could probably finish this in a weekend if you really were dedicated, and I really liked it. It was really, really good. Very imaginative, very original. I enjoyed it. Now, I'm gonna okay, this is gonna be a very controversial book review. Ooh. Okay, number 1, the first time I had heard about the Mirror Visitor books, all right, was from another booktuber, and I'm not gonna name names, but when she talked about the series, okay, she had books 1, 2, and 3 displayed on her shelf like so. So I thought that this was just a trilogy. No, there is a 4th one. I do not have a physical copy of it because for whatever reason, to get the same edition, I guess because the 4th one is relatively newer, it exists, you can get it, but it costs like over $30, and I haven't been willing to bite the bullet on a paperback that costs $30. Like, that's just ludicrous. So anyway, but I have it. I'm about 20% into the 4th one digitally. Okay, this is a really recommended series of books. It's got a Pride and Prejudice bend to it, which
popular.
We love Pride and Prejudice. I love it. And I really enjoyed the first one. I thought the first one was really interesting. The world building was super cool. And then the second one I really enjoyed. And then we got to book 3, Babel, the place that they're in. There's been several books with Babel in it for whatever reason. It's fine. I did not enjoy this particular arc, which is like the particular world they're in for this book. I just didn't like it. And then when I'm reading book 4 is still here, and I don't like the location. And so it's really soured me for the book. So I will finish it because I can't go 3 books into a 4 series book and not wrap it up. I will, but I am dragging my feet to do it. I honestly think that these were super drawn out. I'm not going to lie to you. This could have been a duology and it would have been fine. I don't know how necessary it is for them to have extended it as much as they did. They're doing a storyline that I'm not excited about in the 4th one, where it involves almost like a mental institution. No, I don't want to go there. I'm not enjoying it. And I'm hoping that some of our viewers who have read this series, because I do think that one of our viewers recommended the Mirror Visitors.
I feel like one of you told us that you were reading it as well.
And if you read the 4th one, can you please tell me whether or not it's worth it? Because it's turned into a slog. And I hate that because I did enjoy the first 2 so much. I just feel like everything else that's happening, they could have kind of overlapped the kind of like the romance, which was super nice. And I really enjoyed that aspect and the character development and the world building. If they could have just overlapped this kind of overarching mystery they're trying to solve, those things could have been happening simultaneously instead of the way they did it more in a linear fashion. This is just my complaint for the series. And I so want to love it. And there are so many things to love about it, but it's just, it's crashing and burning for me. So I'm really, it's such a bummer. And they're beautiful. I love these books. I will absolutely display them even though, but the first 2 really, really were fire for me. And then, okay, what else did I read? I read 6 Crimson Cranes. I got the UK edition. Now the US version is also very pretty. Elizabeth Lim, she's rising up for me in terms of authors I really, really enjoy. Did I find this book to be like an emotionally devastating travel? No, I didn't. But I like the original fairy tale that this is based on. With the girl with the 6 brothers who get turned into birds and then she can't speak. I forget the name of the original fairy tale, which I read before, but I thought this was just a lovely retelling. It is, this is another one where I've gone and got burned. I thought this was a standalone. Nope. There's another one coming out, which is fine. I enjoyed the pacing, so I'm looking forward to reading the second one, but I got like about 25 pages to the end and I'm like, man, I got a lot to like wrap up here. And then, nope.
I hate that. There is nothing that burns my grits. Like,
there needs to be a warning.
We were talking about
there needs to be a sticker.
There should be like a sticker on the inside cover that says, warning. This is not a standalone book. I just need to know going in.
I do. I need to be mentally prepared. And I think that's why, especially with fantasy, because fantasy, there are very few standalones and people seek them out. And I do hear people, they get a little burned out, probably like what I experienced with the Mirror Visitors. Like there's just too many. And there are sometimes when things can kind of be combined to make for a shorter, more complex story, but a little faster. And the fantasy genre is just not known for doing that. They really like just really like stretch out all of that. But yeah, so I was looking forward to doing a fantasy standalone and I got burned. And so it's fine because I enjoyed this one so much. So 6 Crimson Cranes. Yes, I do recommend this book. It is beautiful. It's beautifully written. this cover, I can't say enough about it. The US version is nice too, but all these pastels, it was just so pretty. It's so different compared to a lot of the fantasy books, which use a lot of like primary colors, a lot of bright colors. And I just loved how soft this one was. But the story itself, beyond the cover art, is really nice. It's very, very beautiful. And I would definitely recommend that one. It's a fast read too. You zip through it. Let's see. And then, okay, for my YA deep dive, I say deep dive, it wasn't that deep, but I did pick up Serpent and Dove. Okay, so when we talk about book tropes are always a popular topic. I'm a fan of enemies to lovers. Like, I like it.
I know this about you.
I like when there's conflict, because here's the thing. If you have an author that's really good at writing snappy dialogue, you get the snappiest, wittiest dialogue when it's enemies to lovers. I'm absolutely convinced. I don't like friends to lovers. They already like each other. There's just not enough for me. I mean, like, it's fine, but like enemies to lovers is where it's at. I like it because for me, when you're talking about characterization, because I'm a character-driven reader, when they're trying to kind of resist each other, it encourages the characters to look past a lot of these more surface level things, where they really have to get to know the person on a deeper level for that attraction and love to grow. And see, I like that because it helps you peel back those layers of those characters. And especially if you do a dual perspective where you're switching back and forth, which is what happens in Serpent and Dove, you can see them, breaking each other down, and also doing a lot of self-reflection about why they feel the way they do. Is it something that's, something you could get over, something you could live with, or hard lines? I don't know. I just find that really interesting. And so yeah, Serpent and Dove, I like it. Enemies to lovers. All right, we got a witch and a witch hunter. Super fun.
Classic.
It's French. The author's not French, but it's, I don't think anyway. But no, she's not. But it's supposed to be taking place in like a country like France. All right, so the language they're speaking is French. And I like it because they add a lot of the kind of French cultural aspects in there. A lot of the things that they phrase, the dialogue. I really found this to be fairly well researched in terms of kind of the cultural aspects. And I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was fun. It's, if you want to talk about in terms of YA, because YA can, like, this kind of new adult stuff can get a little spicy. It's not too bad. It's pretty tame, really, overall. Like, once you cross the bridge, if we're talking about like new adult books and you talk about like Maas and Silver Flames, if that's going to be the bar you set in terms of like some real spicy stuff going on, this is very much lower than that. Since Maas is such a popular author, if you've read Maas, this doesn't even touch Silver Flames. All right, so this is more like level of A Court of Thorns and Roses, maybe level
spice. We'll have to talk about that series another time, because she's a real bait and switch with Silver Flames.
We'll get there.
As I'm sure if you watch multiple of our videos,
we do mention.
I got some feelings about Silver Flames, and Rachel does too. And
we will. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it eventually. It has to be its own video though. I got a lot of feelings.
Okay, so I read Serpent and Dove. There are 2 other books to it. I did start Blood and Honey. Anyway, I'm not too far into this one. And then I read Caraval, which I've had some students read this and recommended it. And I really like it because I like the Night Circus so much, and this also is a circus atmosphere. I didn't like it as much as Night Circus. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought Night Circus was just... The things that I saw in my head reading Night Circus were so just beautiful. This doesn't have the same
imagery.
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. The same level of imagery. Now it was still cute though. I liked it, and I have the other two, and I will read them at some point. And let's see. And then not the last one. I read Gilded, which is the new Marissa Meyer book. She wrote all of like the Cinder book. What's the name of that series? The Lunar Chronicles. There it is. The Lunar Chronicles. No, it was just the first one. And I read all of those books and really enjoyed them. I do like her writing. I really like Gilded. This is another one. Thought it was going to be a standalone. Nope. 3 times.
She really got burned by that.
I really did.
You know what? I should start screenshotting your texts for people to see later, because I was upset.
Yeah. I really liked it. Like I said, I will pick up the next one. Absolutely. I do enjoy her writing. This is like a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. Loose. I say that, but that's like the main thread is Rumpelstiltskin, but like there's a lot going on. This was a really fun book. It has some horror elements to it, but not anything that's overly graphic. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and I love the cover. It's really pretty. And this was another buy that I got with a former student. So whenever I shop with her, I do tend to go out of the more adult section and hit that YA wall pretty hard at Barnes & Noble. So, which is fine. I enjoy YA. YA was my introduction into fantasy, so it's fine. There's a lot of really great quality stuff that comes out of YA and new adult. So, but anyway, this is definitely more to me. This isn't a true YA to me. This is more of a new adult book, and really good. Her writing's really good. Her pacing's really good. So I'm excited for the next one. But this is also another one where I was about 25 pages out, and I'm like, man, got a lot to wrap up here. And then no. And so my former student, she says, well, I could have told you that there was a sequel. And I'm like,
but you
didn't say it when I bought it. When you were standing right next to me. So, yeah.
Day late, dollar short, folks.
Yes. And then, what else? Oh, I read Spinning Silver. I do not have a physical copy of that one. I read that one digitally, which is another Naomi Novik book. So, of Naomi Novik, I read Uprooted and Spinning Silver. And then I also read...
You've read Deadly Education.
A Deadly Education. There it is. I haven't read The Last Graduate yet, which is the sequel to A Deadly Education, which I'm excited to read. I do want to read it. But anyway, I read Uprooted second. I read Deadly Education first. It was my first Naomi Novik experience. The tones are very different. Spinning Silver was also a little bit of a Rumpelstiltskin thing going on, like turning silver into gold kind of deal. I have thoughts about it. I really liked it until like the last 20% of the book. I thought the ending was super muddy. And any of you who have actually have read the book, if you could explain to me why I thought it was so muddy. I really didn't understand fully how everything wrapped up. I feel like somewhere in there, I don't know if like I skipped 2 pages or something. Like things didn't line up for me exactly how, not that I thought it was going to go, but it didn't make any sense to me. So I can't highly rate it, but it's the character development and it's really interesting. And I like that it's about women. It's about women who really had no agency, really grab that for themselves and find their own value. And I love stories like that are very female centered. And the fact that you also have elements of Jewish culture in it as well, which I really like. So there's kind of some historical context in Jewish culture in there that I really appreciated because you really don't see that. Mm-hmm. And so it was a very unique read that way. And I enjoyed it. I just need somebody to explain to me how that book wrapped up because I'm at a loss. Like I don't know. We went from A to like, I don't know, like LMNOP, and there were letters that were skipped there, and I didn't quite know what was going on, particularly with the relationship between this kind of fae elf and our main protagonist. So any of you who have read that, if you just want to like in the comments, just kind of like fill it out for me, I'd appreciate that. All those missing letters because I don't quite understand their relationship and how it ended up where it was. So it's cool. It's fine. Anyway, but I think that's it.
So I got given quite a few cozies, which I'm looking forward to reading. I got The People We Meet on Vacation, which I like the premise of. So they're, friends for a long time. They go on vacation once a year together. And then, maybe there's something more, maybe not, kind of thing. Looks fun.
That was really highly recommended. That's on a lot of lists.
Yeah, I'm really excited to read it. And then The Holiday Swap, just get from Rachel. It basically sounds like a Hallmark movie, and I'm here for it. Like,
enough said.
It doesn't matter to me that it's not the holidays. Yeah, I'll read this. Whatever. And then also Twisted Tea Christmas, a tea shop mystery. I think not a vampire tea shop mystery, just a regular tea shop mystery. I think Rachel wants me to expand my repertoire on that. But it's also a mystery, which, I love those. I love a fluffy, cozy mystery. Yeah. This one's by Laura Childs, who I believe I've heard of her before, because most cozy authors have several running series at a time. And she's another one I think I've seen some of her other baking related series.
Okay.
I mean, they're basically the written...
A tea shop mystery.
They're the written version of...
So You.
It's such a really cute little cover with all, it's like Christmas baked goods on it. Like...
That doesn't scream Amanda.
I mean, they look like me. Okay, and then let me tell you what Rachel did.
Rachel started shopping early.
Rachel was so generous in her gift giving to me this year, but I need to show y'all the order of the books that she gave me. They were wrapped beautifully together in like bundled, so that it's a very...
Well, the other two I gave her
separately
early because Amanda was having a tough time one day and she needed to pick me up, so she got her cozies early.
And I loved them. Thank you. They were
just to hold them. Like it was enough.
It was nice. It was a tough day. So they're individually wrapped, but they're like in a particular order. And let me show you the order of these books. So the first one, is this one first? This one was first. I think this one was first.
I don't remember.
Okay, this is one that we are reading in a book club we're in with other people. It's The City of Brass, which I'm very excited to read because it takes place in Cairo, and so it's just a different location than we usually read. Mm-hmm. It's got a different she's got a different vibe to it, and I'm kind of excited to read it. So she gave me City of Brass, and this one I kind of was expecting because I think I had actually been with her, but then completely forgot about it when we were. We were in a group message with the book. They were like, we need to set a date to finish that book. I'm like, I'm sorry, what book are we reading?
Am I supposed to be in this?
I had completely forgotten in the break. Then she got me This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron, which is actually the book that I originally saw. If you go back and look at some of her past videos, she wrote a different book like Cinderella is Dead that I had found but not read yet, and Rachel picked it up. Didn't love it, but this was
go
actually
back and watch that review.
Yeah, she didn't like it. This is the one that I had actually originally seen at the bookstore and had caught my eye for her because I thought it was just such a neat, unique premise. Like she guards a magical garden. Like it was just such a different take on
poison ivy deal.
Yeah, like poison and venomous plants, and like it's where people. Learning to control her gifts. Like, anyway, it just was unique, and so this was one she had heard me say I really wanted to read, which is very kind. And then,
my hope is that she reads it, and then I will use her recommendation of whether or not I should take a second shot at that author, because Cinderella is Dead,
she didn't
was a flop for me. So, yeah. So I would love to, once again, read those more diverse stories. I want it. I just want a good one.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this will deliver. So she's really like a guinea pig.
And speaking of past videos, many years ago, when Rachel and I very first started working together, one of the very first real conversations that we had was about a book series that she loves that I still really don't. I was not interested in reading at the time. It's probably 7 years ago now. I don't even know. So it's been it's been a journey. for Rachel trying to convince me. So I open up the third book in my stack, and what is it but Outlander? Yeah, but this one. Yeah, because then and then I was like, I thought it was so funny, and I laughed, ha, 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 right? I was like, she's just like, I feel like if you own it, you feel more pressure. And then I open up the last book, and it's the next one. So, she's like, I thought you'd feel more pressure the more of them you own. And I won't lie to you, it's worked. I have felt more pressure since I now own both to give them a try. So on the one hand, Rachel's ploy is sort of working. I haven't like actually done it yet. I just thought it was so funny when I opened up. It was Outlander, and and then it was the second one, and I felt so played by my own. It's okay. I mean, I did play you on the DNF. You're not being able to DNF to get you to read my favorite cozy series, so you know, I suppose all's fair.
So the books that were given to me that wasn't by me, meaning from other people. I do have quite a pile of those. For my Christmas list that I do with my family, what we do is we pull names, and so we only shop for one person, and so we have a budget that we have to spend, and it's like $100. And since we're only shopping for one person, and so the only thing on my list were books. So my brother pulled me. No, he didn't. His girlfriend, my brother's girlfriend pulled me this year, and she is a very nice woman, and she had a lot of fun, apparently, shopping for all of the books that I had on my list.
Who doesn't have fun shopping for books?
I don't know
you. I don't know you, and I don't understand you.
I do think it's interesting the ones that were chosen. A lot of the ones she chose were more like the grimdark ones that I had on my list, which is totally fine. I'm super excited. They were all on my TBR. So I have the Blade Itself trilogy. I think they're called something else, actually, the trilogy. But I got all three of these. So the Blade Itself is first. And then you always got to put the thickest one last, because it's usually the one that's last. So yeah, so I got all three of the Blade Itself books, and I'm very excited about these. I've heard some really interesting things about it, that you are rooting for people you wouldn't think you would root for. Like, I've heard a lot of good things about Glockta, which is one of like the main characters who used to be. These aren't for you. These are that he used to be a torturer, and then something happened to him, and so now he's on this whole other adventure. There is a whole bunch of different perspectives taking place where all of these characters are going to come together in some way. I've heard really, really interesting things about Joe Abercrombie. People tend to either like love him or hate him. And so I'm interested to see where I'm going to fall on it. I will give the entire trilogy a shot. He obviously has other titles as well, but these are the ones that I feel like are most talked about. And so, you know, whenever things are being talked about, I always like to be able to have an opinion. So shocking. So I'm really excited to do these. And then I got Evan Winter's The Rage of Dragons, which I'm excited about as well. Anything with dragons. And so I've heard some really good things about this. There's been a few authors that I really like that have weighed in on this one as well. So I'm excited to read this one. Yeah, it says Game of Thrones meets Gladiator. Yes,
Two
sir.
things that do not appeal to me.
Yes, sir. All right, so I'm all about that. And then The Mask of Mirrors. This is another one. I haven't seen too many people talk about this one. It's a big one, and it's the first in a series. That there's a lot of really, really great imagery as well. And see, I like books that are like that. I really like to be able to see it play out in my head. And so this is like a con artist, and her goal is to trick her way into a noble house, securing her fortune and her sister's future. So there's some high stakes involved for our main character, and it's like corrupt nightmare magic. Sounds really fun. So a lot of these are more grimdark. So I'm excited about that. And then I got The Shadow of the Gods. So I'm excited about this one. John Gwynne is another author that I'm excited about. I had his other series that started with Malice on my list as well. But anything with dragons. But this is more like Norse inspired epic. So not the kind of more medieval European. vibe that we get. So I'm excited about that one. And then the last thing I got the set of Shades of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So I'm very excited about these ones as well. These ones I've heard talked about a lot, and they have talking about like different versions of London and like dimensions, and you have people who can like cross into others. I don't know. It sounds super interesting. And yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I got so many. Sorry. I get overwhelmed, but I'm very interested. V.E. Schwab is somebody I enjoy a lot. I've read others of hers. Actually, a lot of her older stuff I've read. And of course, I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue a while ago as well. So, yeah. So those are my gifts from my brother's girlfriend. I keep wanting to say that, but it wasn't him because, no. It's his girlfriend. And then Amanda gifted me with a book as well. She got me Sister Song. And I don't know too much about this one beyond what she told me about. And it's folkloric fantasy. So
it sounded like Rachel to me.
It's gory.
Well, I mean, it's based on mythology, which often is. It read like you to me. Because it's
the invading Saxons. So this is like... Ooh, so this is the story will shape the destiny of Britain. All right, so going back to the classics, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it read like Rachel to me, and it had good reviews, so I went for it.
I'm excited that it's something that I haven't put on a list. Like, it's something totally new for me. I haven't seen this one on any of my lists, so I'm definitely excited to read it. Very excited. It sounds kind of Arthurian. So, I love it. So I'm excited about that. So those were all of the ones that were gifted to me by other people. I'm not gonna lie, I won't bring out the box, but I did bring a whole box of books that I bought for myself.
We should film a bonus video of Rachel's book haul.
Or maybe just a picture. I had 2 other ones that I read. Oh, it's terrible. All right. All right. I read the first of the Greenbone trilogy, Jade City. I'm reading this with another book club as well. And yeah, but I did read this one. I read the first one. I have the other 2. And this has gotten a lot of hype. I mean, the magic system's not that original. It's like Jade, where you have certain people that are genetically capable of being able to like harness the power of Jade, and all it does is it gives you superhuman abilities. And
that sounds cool to me.
Huh?
Sounds cool to me.
No, it's cool, but I mean, like, when a lot of people, when they talk about these like epic fantasy series, it's because they've done something interesting regarding, you know, like the magic system. And to me, this wasn't all that original. So they wear Jade, and you have people who are called Stone Eyes, who are also of the same genetic, but they are not. They're like immune to Jade, and so they're the ones who mine Jade. Because if you use too much Jade, or you haven't been taught how to properly channel the Jade, you get something called the itches.
That sounds awful.
And you go crazy, and then you die. So anyway. But Jade City's like, it's more of a crime, like crime families. So you have like 2 clans that are in this country, and they control a lot of things. They control most of the Jade stuff. Now they're supposed to be working in conjunction with the government, but they're the puppet masters. Everything is really being controlled by these families. And you have one family, the Mountain Clan, that's trying to take over the Khans, which are the No Peaks. There it is. Just came to me. The No Peak clan. And now you're reading the 4 different perspectives from people who are in the No Peak clan, and you have the threat for the Mountain Clan, which is bigger, that are coming, and they're going to just try and take over everything. So that's basically the premise for this first book. And the other 2 are following the same thing. So it's kind of like Godfather-ish, because it's crime families with magic in Asia. I mean, a fictitious Asia, but it's Asian inspired. So I like it that it's diverse.
Maybe that's its thing, is being more crime family.
It is more crime family with fantastical elements, more than I really see it as, like super fantasy. So it's urban. It's if you have people driving cars or something like ancient about any of it. It's urban, and this is gonna be such an unpopular opinion. It is incredibly predictable. So that's kind of where I am. I predicted everything that was going to happen in this book.
Yeah, but you're a good predictor.
I guess. I don't know.
Do you watch any of our Robin Hobb series? Rachel's very book intuitive.
I don't know. So I'm hoping I did read this with the book club. So I don't know. The people I've talked about who are reading it aren't really enjoying it. So I doubt if the next month it will continue with it. I will read books 2 and 3. Because I mean, it's enough to want you to read it, but it's not, people have made it out to be like their number one fantasy. Really? It's definitely, it doesn't even crack my top 10. No. It's fun. It's different. I don't really enjoy crime drama that much. And to me, it was digestible enough. It didn't get too convoluted. The beginning, they do really like hit you in the face with a lot of names and stuff. So I think people get a little overwhelmed at first, but everything just kind of settles out after a while. But yeah, another YA was with my student, Kingdom of the Wicked. This is a fun one. I really enjoyed this one. Witch summons a demon, like one of the princes of hell. It's cool. It's fine.
Never a good idea.
I know, but he's cool.
He's cool.
He's cool. Look at her face.
I'm just processing your word choice.
It's cool.
He's the prince of hell. He's cool.
He's hot. He like protects her and stuff. Like I'm there for it. I got the second one. Kingdom of the Cursed, which apparently everybody is really pissed off about because it ends on this huge cliffhanger and people are crying. So I'm excited about that. So there could be some emotional devastation. So I don't think the next one releases until like a year from now or something like that. But look at the cover. How cool. I don't know. I like it. It's kind of dark.
I'm so glad I came to Throne of Glass like after it was all over because I would not have. I hate cliffhangers. I haven't done cliffhangers this deep since Harry Potter.
See, I read Throne of Glass as they released. So I'm aging myself right now. Oh, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even look up when they came out. They're so good.
People, Kingdom of Ash came out a couple of,
read them.
3 years ago, maybe now. But anyway, so imagine reading.
I can't.
What was the last one before Tower of Dawn? I always forget the name. Empire Storms. So finishing Empire Storms, those of you who have read it, the cliffhanger it ends on. And then having to wait, and Tower of Dawn comes out, which doesn't even, it's a totally different storyline. And then you gotta wait another year for Kingdom of Ash. So don't even with that pain. Like I had to wait.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I can't. That's why I was like I would stop right now after that first book, and I would wait till they were done. And
well, a lot of people won't read fantasy until they release the whole set because they don't want to have to wait.
I get that.
A lot of people do that.
I get that because here's the thing. I feel, and maybe in the future when our lives and jobs are less stressful than they are right now. I just don't have the emotional capacity to and I get so devastated by those kind of I started reading 2 enormous books at once. Like I clearly have no control over myself. I needed to know. I just don't have the emotional capacity to sit on it for that long.
Well, that's what I had to do when I was reading these ones, Red Rising, these ones. Golden Sun ended on a huge cliffhanger. So I finished that, and then I had to read at least 150 pages into the third one before I could put it down. So Rachel didn't go to bed till 2. I had to. I couldn't just leave it as it was.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're just exhausted and cranky, and the kids are like, what's wrong?
Let me tell y'all.
And then the book readers are like,
we get it.
We gotcha. And the kids are like, really? Over a book?
But you know what? It's good. This is the thing. And if you have, if you have kids, your kids will tell you, oftentimes the teachers they connect with the most are the ones that you have to build relationships. Teaching is about building relationships. So part of that is you got to show them the things that you care about outside of the classroom, and that
then they'll go and make fun of you about it later. But then they know something about you.
Which is totally fine. Listen, I teach high school. I have a very thick skin.
You have to.
There is very little that bothers me about, like what the kids think about me. It just doesn't.
It's pretty funny though. It's pretty funny. And I have some kids. I had kids that didn't come back. I had one kid that didn't come back. And I said, no, you have to come back. I have to tell you about all of the books I read over the break. And they're like, okay. Like the other little nerds. They want you to come back because they want to be able to share that stuff with you. Because it's nice. Because I think, obviously, people who watch this channel are book lovers. And when you read a good book, the first thing you think about is, who am I going to tell about this book? Because I need somebody else to engage with me. Now, something else I discovered over break was TikTok. I resisted a long time not downloading TikTok.
Rachel really went in.
But like so many of them are just so relatable. Like they have, people have made TikToks where literally they're watching their friend, like read, and you're just waiting. You're waiting for them to get to that emotional devastation. You're just looking at them like a Fruit Loop, just waiting and waiting. And then you see them experience it and you're like, yes, somebody else is in the pit of despair with me. Like that's a thing. I definitely TikTok. It's cutting into my reading
Rachel's
time.
Gone in hard. She's like
doing.
It's just get like
here's the things
boom. They come to my phone. There'll be like 4 or 5 of them in a row.
Yeah, I do. Now I send them to everyone.
And then she sends a comment. And then sorry. Eventually some of the new will wear off, but probably not much.
I don't know. It just depends. Now everything has been about Agatar filming, like A Court of Thorns and Roses. So like Maas is super hot on Book Talk. I guess it has its own little hashtag thingy. So
I'm not cool enough to know.
And so everybody's been doing like these super deep detective work trying to figure out what the cast is going to be for this show for all of those Maas fans. So that's really interesting. We'll talk more about that when we do our Maas versus Maas video. Our in-depth look into Sarah Janet. Sarah Janet. I love Jess Owens. Yes.
Oh.
Fellow booktuber. She's awesome. Sarah. All right. Join us next week when we will be reviewing another Elizabeth Lim book, because I read 6 Crimson Cranes. And I talked it up so much to Amanda that we decided for our next project we would read her duology. And so next week we will be talking about Spin the Dawn. And she has a lovely US cover to be able to show you too, for those of you who are into the cover art. So we're looking forward to that. And then our next video will be, of course, be the sequel to it, which is Unravel the Dusk. So we look forward to seeing you then. And please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell. To be notified.
We're not 100% sure what the bell does, but everybody else says
it's just like a notification.
Everybody else says ring the bell, so we're like, can't hurt to throw it in.
There we go. And and so we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Bye.
I was like, how do you do this?
How do we put these videos?
Well, thanks for watching. Make sure.